Hello,
I
hello.
hope so. I'll look at this agenda and listen to that crowd out there.
There's one right there. Yep, right there on your right. Oh my goodness, excuse me.
Good, how are you doing?
Tired.
This was just sent out this afternoon? Okay.
Yeah, what the difference is
Doing anything exciting lately?
No, just staying out of trouble, working on my house, trying not to spend money.
they're right away.
That was you in the pickup, wasn't it, the other morning?
Added something out.
Yeah, I was just looking at this. I remember discussing about that, just the slope of the stuff, so,
Young man that came out of Ingalls, got in the pickup and I.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
oh, yeah,
leaving,
well,
parking out with my youngest son, I looked over, what morning?
we want more.
And I said, God, it looks like Gary waited way back and you got a twin.
Okay,
It
okay,
was a
thank you.
black pickup just like yours. I thought, cause don't you,
Goodness.
not like a stepson, but you
Yeah,
know,
but he's 19.
The one that I wrote for
he
you.
was about, could have
I
been.
can't remember last time now. He's got his own car. So
Okay,
And I rarely, I don't ever.
Yeah.
well then I just waved at a nice guy.
I looked at this.
He's probably going, why is this guy waiting?
Who is that guy?
You've got a black truck, huh?
Yeah, he had a black Ford, just like yours. Did you get the bike sold?
No,
You have another one of those?
still on there.
I've got a Tic Tac.
Still paying
I
it.
just got a tickle.
Morning, sir.
Let's see.
I've got a Tic Tac.
How are you?
Okay. I just got a tickle in my throat.
Bob, you ride, don't you?
Yeah.
Any interest in the
Did you-
2012 street glide?
No, I think my Harley days, I been there, done that, and I think I want something a little more,
Three
more
wheel.
sporting.
Some of the three wheels.
Well, no, I thought you sold
The closest thing I had to a Harley was a Buell Cyclone,
Yeah.
and,
You
no,
couldn't.
it was okay.
You couldn't pay me to get on a
and I had some
motorcycle.
fun with it, but I was
Television
glad when I
crews a
sold
long
it.
time ago, covered many,
Looking
many
forward to buying
motorcycle
something
wrecks.
too.
Very few
Kinda
survivors of
hankering
those
after
things. So,
the,
Well, I had to get my brother
KTM
from a
92.
motorcycle accident once.
Yeah.
sat on one and,
A few inches, a few feet to the right or left.
is
And
out there,
then the
upside down.
got
So.
an
And,
acquaintance of mine who rides, and I
It's like,
advocating
it's
no
kinda like the Buell
helmet
concept,
option.
only about half the
That's
weight.
fine, as long as you sign a waiver saying you're personally responsible.
Much higher power to
whatever
weight.
injuries you
It's not,
sustain or those
not as
others.
fast overall.
If you're willing to pay for that for a trauma intensive care
Really
unit stay, and
Yep.
it could
Because
be
if I had
millions
something
of
to
dollars,
do it,
if you're willing to cover that.
That's great.
But I'm not
Well, I
gonna
get out,
can't
I
help
get out
myself.
mine,
to
yeah.
cover
And
you
I'm
from
doing,
making the
90,
decision.
100 miles an hour, not even.
Logistics
Yeah,
of
which
this
is
is
annoying.
overwhelming.
But not wearing
And
a
it
seatbelt.
feels good.
It is.
Oh, I love
So
it.
it's hard not
I love
to.
it,
That's-
yeah.
Position for a
That's,
severe injury,
Severe,
In
severe.
fact, that's why I
with,
got
you
rid of
know,
my
potential
Road King.
death and
I got rid of that
catastrophic
because
stuff.
I
And
just,
yet,
I thought I was
so what are
pushing
you
my
gonna do,
luck.
claim poverty and you're
And I
expecting me to
got
help
rid of
pick
it for
up
about a
the
year,
tab?
year and a half, and I
That's
didn't
your
take it
choice,
before, and I
you know.
bought the street
It's
glide.
funny, the discussion was
I love the bike.
Yeah.
never carry
It's
that
awesome,
forward.
just don't doubt it.
My sickle joint has been kicking real.
Oh, they just,
I
I
can't-
mean, there's no
I-
decisions.
I-
They
It's
just,
blue book right now for little
No.
over 18.
no, they just talked
I
about it.
can't sell that thing at all.
What do you mean?
I've got it on eBay and had it on Craigslist trying to sell it, nothing.
I had to give my Buell practice. Practice that way.
I don't wanna do that. But I called Smoky Mountain Harley Davidson.
Dying.
They basically offered me 16, which they look at that. And my old bike
Thank
I
you.
sold back to the one now. Well, they gave me what I owed on it. They haven't called me back in
The
this.
other day?
Oh, yeah, Nate, yeah, yeah.
Guy out of Smoky Mountain.
He's
said,
got
"Yeah,
RBI
opportunity."
days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the used bikes are everywhere.
Oh, what is happening?
They're huge.
So the only thing that's really going to
I
help
cough
is
all
that,
day.
that flat black.
Not cough at night.
Kind of black.
Years and-
Because we-
Sharp as a
Yeah.
blade.
Yeah, he was.
No?
He,
It's
uh,
during the
That's why I
day.
can't help
Don't
you.
cough at
I
night.
just can't,
Operation.
It's just a
justify-
dry cough.
Whatever I buy is
I
gonna
can- it's
be,
like I can feel it in
for a
my
couple
chest.
of years. And then when
Yeah.
well, under
Raleigh
400
left,
pounds.
Yeah.
I don't have his own guy.
All right.
Closer to 300.
About that time, he
Okay.
his brother's back and bought out all the I knew several.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock,
Can you hear me?
and this is the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for July 24th, 2014. Hang on just a minute.
Yeah, I see Bishop.
Oh, thank you very much.
His name's Ken Mullins.
Thank you.
We'll start tonight by rising for an invocation to be given by Ken Varn.
Vaughn.
Varn.
Bless you.
I'm being coached. Yes, go to the podium, and we will follow this with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our loving Heavenly Father, we are grateful for thy many blessings upon us. We are grateful for this free land which we live in and for the free government which we have. We ask that thy Spirit might be in this meeting. Please bless the mayor and the aldermen and other leaders here, that they'll be blessed with wisdom and understanding, that they'll be inspired by thee as to those things which thou wouldst have them do to help our town to continue to grow and progress. We're grateful for thy love for us. We're grateful for thy many blessings upon us. We ask that thy Spirit might be here this night with all those who will participate, that they might do and say those things which would be pleasing to thee and in keeping with thee. We're particularly grateful for our Savior, Jesus Christ, for his perfect life and his sacrifice for each one of us. Help us to truly do the things which thou wouldst have us do, and be good examples of thee and thy ways. Help us to love our neighbors and to make our town a safe haven, a place of happiness and friendship. And we ask and thank you for these things, again asking for thy Spirit in this meeting, in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that.
Thanks, Ken.
First item is approval of the agenda. It's rather short.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item is mayor's report, and I'm happy to report that we enjoyed a nice long vacation at the beach in Florida. But we're back. And I did have to miss a meeting for that purpose. Sorry about that. No, wait, I'm not sorry. Next item is citizens.
No, sir.
Now we need to approve some minutes from first the June 6, 2014 meeting.
I'll move for approval. Well, hold on.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I was absent.
Can-
I'll abstain.
Can we vote on that one with Dot gone? I don't think
Anyway, what?
we can we?
We still can't vote on this.
Yeah. I just noticed that when I,
Yeah, because who is present? Miguel was present, Honkin, and LaMarche.
yeah,
So LaMarche is not here.
we'll try again.
We'll try again next.
I'll withdraw my motion. I just noticed that I went, oh, that's not going to work.
Well, I wasn't here June 26th, so I need to abstain from that one.
That was
Okay.
We're gonna we'll post.
I wasn't here July 10th, so I need to abstain from that.
We may not get past this. I
We
was
can
here
vote on the
July
next
10th.
one.
Yes. You can vote on the July 10th.
Awesome.
I'll make a motion for approval for the July 10th, 2014 meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I wasn't here. Okay, moving on to ordinance. This is the second reading of ordinance 14-09, ordinance to amend the ordinance 14-06 fiscal year 2015 budget, capital investment program, and state street aid.
Yes, sir. The capital investment program will be amended by increasing the appropriated expenditures by $275,179. Those funds will be for the Turkey Creek Slope, which is $81,600, and then McPhee Wentworth Greenway, which is $193,579. The second fund is the State Street Aid Fund, which will be amended by increasing the appropriated expenditures by $500,000. Those are for the resurfacing program that was budgeted for fiscal year 2014, but wasn't expended until this fiscal year, so it'll need to be moved or transferred from the previous fiscal year to the current fiscal year. The motion is to approve 1409 on second and final reading.
And this does not materially impact our budget. This is basically housekeeping.
The increases on the Turkey Creek Slope, on your second bullet point down, it says due to project costs, the additional $16,000 is needed for that project, and that will come from the CIP reserves. But the other two items are just transfers from one fiscal year to the next.
Motion for approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next one is first reading of ordinance 14-07, an ordinance to amend Title IX, businesses, peddlers, solicitors, etc., Chapter 4, sign ordinance of the Farragut Municipal Code, Section 9-406, 4P, to amend the requirements for wall signs in the office district 3 stories and the office district 5 stories. Shared entrance building. This
Okay.
is the ordinance for the, go ahead.
That's kind of a long ordinance there. Apologize for that. There's no shortcut for that one, unfortunately. This item actually was initially reviewed all the way back in March by the Visual Resources Review Board. They made a recommendation to the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission reviewed this ordinance amendment request at their April, May, and June meetings. Just to give you just a little bit of background on how we got to this point, the current wording that we have in the sign ordinance was actually established in 2007 when a couple of the tenants that were in the 5-story building at that time amended the sign ordinance to allow a wall sign on the 2 different ends of the 5-story building there that you see on the screen that faces Parkside Drive. They basically, as part of that amendment, had the sign area determination to be, you basically would take the 2 signs and add them together, and as long as the 2 together did not exceed a 1-to-1 ratio of sign area to the width of the building that faces Parkside Drive, the signage was okay. That's a little different than how wall signage is calculated or allocated for other shared entrance buildings in the town. It's actually a more liberal application of that. So that kind of gives you a little background on how the wording is currently. There was a request back in 2012 to amend this section of the sign ordinance to allow a 3rd sign on that north elevation that faces Parkside Drive. That did not pass, and now the applicants are requesting, as part of this amendment and this particular ordinance, to allow an opportunity to have a wall sign on the 2 ends of the building, like is shown on that screen there, with Signco on the west side of the building and then Duraline there on the east side, although those are just hypothetical, just for visual purposes. When this went through the board and the Planning Commission, the staff, basically mentioned that how wall signage is distributed on these tall and very visible buildings is really an important consideration for the community, not just in the case of this building, but future buildings that could be constructed in different parts of the town, and how do you want those to look and their signage to look on those types of buildings. The staff's recommendation has always consistently been to just name the building. We think that's the cleanest and least cluttered approach to these particular types of buildings, and that's what you often see in other parts of Knoxville. You see a lot of high-rise buildings downtown which just have the name of the building or the name of the predominant tenant in the building. Basically, at the June 19th meeting, when this was last discussed by the Planning Commission, the Commission did recommend 6-2 to support Ordinance 14-07, which does include wording requested by the applicant to amend this section of the sign ordinance. Basically, what this wording provides for specifically, and how it differs from our current wording, is an opportunity to have up to 4 signs on these type of buildings, you know, in this zoning district, and with this much frontage, you have to have at least 225 feet of building width. So this wouldn't apply to a lot of buildings in the town. That the signs that are proposed on the sides of the buildings be centered. That was something that was discussed at the Planning Commission, like you see there on the screen. And that there be a maximum of 2 colors on these signs collectively, and that there be some language in the ordinance that would address proportion and scale, so that you wouldn't have a situation where any one sign would look out of proportion in appearance to any of the other 3. And then another provision in this ordinance is that the overall sign area that's allowed is not being increased from what's currently provided for in the ordinance. Basically, it would just be distributed among the 4 signs instead of among 2 signs, as it's currently provided. So you could have, the end result would be 4 potentially smaller signs on this type of building. And again, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of Ordinance 14-07, and I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
So, Mark, if I understand correctly, would any of the current signage have to be reduced in size to accommodate this?
It could. It just depends on what their vision is for the other signs that haven't been applied for. They just collectively, they're going to have to think about this on the front end, because
If they exceed that ratio,
yeah, they
they
don't
have to
yeah.
distribute it.
Yeah, they're going to have
End
to
up
try to.
redoing some signs.
This building, I think, has is it 288 feet of frontage, so they could have, based on our current ratio, up to 288 square feet of sign area that could be distributed among the 4 signs. So, you know, they just need to be thinking about that on the front end. I think the sign that's on the building right now is 75 square feet. Yeah, and that's the range.
Yeah, just looking at this, it doesn't look like those 4 signs would be anywhere near 288 square feet.
Those renderings are probably show signage that would be a little larger than what would actually be installed. And again, it's just, they're just trying to capture the general idea of what, if we were to change this section of the sign ordinance, what the building could look like.
I would offer that, you know, as a member of the Planning Commission, initially I was against this, but as we really did have good discussion. As you see in the comments, we talked about this over the course of 3 meetings, and at the end of the day, when we came up with these 4 conditions and everybody was in agreement on that, I supported it wholeheartedly. You know, even though Mark has it here, I want to reiterate, one of the key pieces for me was the total amount of signage is not increasing. They can just slice the pie a couple more times and split it up on the ends of that building, but it has to be centered on the ends. So there is no more signage allowed. It's just a matter of how it's distributed. And I think that's an important piece. So if there's no other discussion, I'm prepared to make a motion.
I do have some questions.
Go ahead, please.
I appreciate being able to ask a few here. We deal a lot with unintended consequences on a lot of decisions before this board that frequently we're not dealing with just an issue at hand, but things that could happen as a result of the decision made on a particular issue. And I was curious, Mr. Shipley, about the potential impact of this proposed amended ordinance on signage involving other sites throughout our town and other locations.
Well, what's being proposed, of course, would apply as it's currently written just to that particular zoning district, which is also restricted by the nature of the buildings there. But you know, if you do change this provision in the sign ordinance, you could make it more potentially be challenging if somebody were wanting to change a similar, you know, provision that would address other properties more broadly distributed throughout the town. Currently, as far as having a wall sign on more than one building elevation, that's only typically allowed where the lot fronts on two public streets. In the case of this lot, it just fronts on Parkside Drive. So that's a little bit different than what's provided for mostly throughout the rest of the sign ordinance.
I do want to tell you, Alderman Elliott, we discussed that quite a bit at the meeting, because your question is a great question, and we need to ask that every single time. At the end of the day, the majority felt that, with the controls we have in place, with another zone wanting to do something like this, having to come through the Planning Commission, having to come back through this body for approval, we felt we had the controls in place to keep that from spreading. Certainly, it creates an opportunity where others would say, hold it, we want to do this, but that opportunity is there today. So I just want to let you know your question is great, and it's one that we also had a good discussion on.
You mentioned a couple of years ago, another request was made to the VRB and the Planning Commission for, I think you said, three signs.
On that north elevation,
And
yes, sir.
now this is a request for 4. The 3-side request was turned down by both bodies. I'm wondering what the rationale was at the time. That was just 2 years ago. Why the turn down then, and now seemingly with 4 sides, that's gotten approval?
I can offer some comments on that, Mark. I don't know if you were
Sure.
at that meeting at the time. The difference is that they were looking to have 3 signs on just the front, where we're forcing them to divide it up around the building. That their request is different, and I actually voted. My vote was to the negative on the having 3 signs on the front. It just, I use a technical term, it was starting to get kind of trashy looking at that time. I'm very comfortable with this, but that was the difference in the two. Did I state that clearly?
I wasn't there. I can't.
No, I meant
whether that was
do you,
correct or not.
You know what I mean? All 3 of them would be on the front of the building. They weren't looking to distribute them around the building. Is the major difference between the two?
Yeah, more of a perception of
Yeah.
cluttering on the front, yeah.
I had a question for the applicant. I don't know if the applicant was here or somebody. I just did have a couple questions on that end. Thank you for being here, first of all. Appreciate that. The question I have is looking at, what the rationale is. I can understand why somebody would want more signage. I mean, I get that, but what the rationale? Is there anything significant you can point to? I mean, is the building empty? Are you missing tenants? Are you, about to go bankrupt? I mean, what's the rationale behind something specific to justify a request? Because this is a pretty substantial change. Going from 2 to 4 is a change. It's not a minor tweaking, at least in my opinion. And I just was wondering, beyond just wanting it, is there anything substantive that you could point to as to the rationale behind the request?
Yes, sir. I'm Arthur Seymour, Jr. I'm an attorney at 550 West Main Avenue in Knoxville, and I represent the owners of the building. To respond to your question, and at the Planning Commission, we had representatives of Duraline explain why corporate identification is so important on a building they're looking at. This is the largest building in the town, office building in the town of Farragut. It's Class A space. Might I let them respond to what is important about signage in a situation like this?
I think that's what I was asking. So
Yeah.
I was, I know.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to
Tim,
respond is fine
could
with
you-
me. I just had the question.
Yeah. And then maybe he's got the whole.
Was he going to bill you for that, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay.
Hi, I'm Tim Grimsley. I'm Global Vice President of Duraline Corporation. Been with the company about 20 years now, and here in the Farragut area. One of our things is we're a company that you probably don't even know that you have here in Farragut. We're a very large company, international company. We have manufacturing facilities all over the U.S. as well as all over the world. This is our worldwide corporate headquarters here. So we have a lot of traffic through this particular facility, both domestic as well as international. Just since my last time that we were here and presented, I kind of made a note on how many people we've had come to the office just on the international side, just in the last few months. We've had 8 from Mexico, 1 from Brazil, 3 visitors from India, 1 from Malaysia, 1 from Canada, and 2 from Czech Republic, plus a countless number of people from the U.S. As well, coming to this location to meet with us about projects that we have all around the world. So we're very much a global corporation, and naturally having your name on the building is just very important to us and to the image of the company. We are very fortunate that even through these economic times, we are growing and hiring pretty consistently. And it's not uncommon to do as many as 4 or more interviews per week for potential candidates that we want to move here to the Farragut area to work for us here in this building. And to be honest with you, it's become difficult. They get lost. They get lost frequently, and they call us on the phone. They can't find the building. They're looking for a sign. We've actually have to use a car service now in a lot of cases to bring candidates from the airport to the building, because they're not looking for a building name. They're looking for the name of Duraline because they're coming to work for Duraline. And there's no sign on the building. We actually tell them to look for the Red Robin. I got nothing against Red Robin. I obviously look like I probably go there frequently, but you're trying to coax a person to move from somewhere to come to Knoxville and move here, and we're giving them directions of the Red Robin to find the building. That is real life. That's exactly how it happens. You can give them an address, they still can't find the building. But the sign is just very important to the company itself. And to some extent, I mentioned this last time, some of it's just simple pride. I mean, we're just this neat company in Farragut that has factories and people all over the world working for us. And a lot of it's just pride. We like to have our name out there. We'd like to show our name. We don't sell to the general public. We sell to corporations. But still, we're a very proud company and would very much like to have our name on the building. It's kind of important to us. And like I said, we're very fortunate. We're growing rapidly, bringing people in all the time, the visitors from around the world. And it's just, it's kind of a corporate image thing. We would like, as we get bigger and bigger, we're coaxing. I mean, our customers are companies like AT&T, Verizon. We have sole source contracts with them around the world. Google, we do all of their work. CommScope, some of the biggest companies in the world. In fact, CommScope was here, Corning, OFS, or again, these are just multi-billion-dollar companies. They're all coming here to see us, and it's just we would very much like to have our name on the building to help portray the image. I know he certainly has a lot of concerns with filling up the empty space in the building, and having the name is very much a way to help fill up the building, but we're kind of in the building, and we like, it's just very important to us as a corporation to have our name on that building as part of our image as we continue to grow and expand here in the Farragut area.
How long have you been in the building?
We've been in the building since 2008. Well, as soon as the building was built, we were one of the first tenants in the building itself.
Are you the
So
largest tenant there now?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we have, correct, right? Yeah, we have the whole 3rd floor and about a quarter to half of the 1st floor.
Let me just ask a question. If you're the largest tenant, you've been there for 6 years, wouldn't the logical thing be to take one of the smaller tenants' names down and put your name up there if you're the big boy in the block?
That's the thing. I'll certainly let you address it, but that becomes with existing leases and building and all kinds of legal stuff that I'm not going to touch. But I'll let you address that. Oh, well, one other thing, if I could mention real quick, just in support of how important this is, we do have Paresh Chari, our worldwide, our CEO of the corporation is here also. Wes Tomaszak, our new CFO. In fact, he just moved to Farragut from Charleston, South Carolina 4 months ago now. So he is the new kid on the block, but he just moved here to Farragut from Charleston. So we're constantly recruiting and trying to bring people to the area itself. And again, we're obviously chasing some of the best talent that we can possibly find to help the company continue to grow around the world. I'll let you address the.
Tim, you might tell the mayor and board the type of business you want to do.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're in the high-density plastic piping industry. When you do fiber optics, like you bring fiber to the home, like TDS did, when they came out and build fiber to your house, to all the homes in the Farragut area, it's all our conduit. So our ducting goes in the ground, fiber optics go on the inside of it. So as you build high-tech homes, high-tech communities, high speed, everything, it utilizes our products. Oh, well, yeah, obviously we do water and gas pipe. So if you have, gas and water pipe, we do all that around the world. So we do pretty much anything that deals with ducting and communications, cable TV, telephone, and then again, pressure pipe, water pipe, gas pipe. That's why, again, AT&T, Verizon, the old Bell South, TDS here, we have sole source contracts to supply them all their products from our factories around the world. So it's kind of a very specialized, very unique type product that we're able to offer.
Well, hey, I just want to say welcome to Farragut. We're glad you're here. Been there since 2008. I didn't know you were there.
See, that's what I was going to say. A lot of people don't realize the company's been around since '71, but we've been here in Farragut since 2008. And it's just we're very happy here and would like to stay. And corporate image is everything. And I know he's dying over there.
You need a CEO with more passion. You need
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything, but I can't resist myself. I can't help myself. I gotta say something.
You need to come down. We're gonna make you come down anyways. You might as well.
You got to be on TV.
Formerly, I was in an off-site meeting. Folks, we had CommScope all day today with us. We're going to have Google. Here's a company that does search. They got to search to find our building. That's not right. we have dual line on our phones. We have dual line at the airport. You walk into, one of the things I did years ago, I said, we want to be here in Knoxville. If you get off the airport, you'll see dual line signs on the airport on both sides. So we have dual line in our airport. We have dual line on our phones. We don't have dual line on our building. That's not right. We're a global company. We are going to be $1 billion company, headquartered here in Knoxville. We're bringing a lot of people in. We have a factory in Tennessee already, in Irvine. We're probably going to have another factory here very soon. We're growing, and we're getting bigger and bigger. And we're trying to attract a lot of people. I just hired my CFO from Charleston. Here's a guy who worked for a company called Tyco that you might have heard of, a global company. I mean, I worked for AT&T myself. I worked for Halliburton. So we got lots of global people. We got people around the world here. And we try to bring all these folks in, and like Tim said, some of these folks no habla español, but they're trying to find a name, and they look at Raymond James or Regents. They don't say Dureline. Very complicated. It's very hard to bring people in. Then they say you're Dureline. You're not even on the building. It doesn't sound right. And so we have a website. We have airports everywhere else except in our own building. Something's fundamentally wrong, isn't it? And that's all I want to say, with a lot of passion. I travel around the world, and I fight my way to Knoxville Airport. I fly 16 hours from China, get to Atlanta, then I stay 4 hours to get to Knoxville. Still the best place to be. The longest I've lived anywhere is Knoxville, having lived globally all over the world. I've lived here since 1998, but I can't get a name on the building. It's fundamentally something wrong, so I just want to say that, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. I didn't want to say anything, but I couldn't resist myself.
We were starting to notice that, actually.
It's okay. I just won $20.
There you go. He won't make it.
I appreciate. I did have a question. I mean, again, I relate to all he's saying. My obvious response would be, why wouldn't I go to the person who owns the building and say, gosh, our name needs to be up there. We're the largest tenant in this facility. Why are these people up here? We should be up there. It just seems like maybe I'm out of line. It just seems like a logical question to pose.
I may get Matt up here to help me out, but because of prior leasing arrangements, we can only have, is it 2 signs up there now? On those 2 spaces on the front are already taken, and we cannot give Dureline a sign on the building unless we can spread out. What we're basically asking to do is spread out the available signage.
So would you ask for, I guess I'm going back to, you've got 2, you're asking for 4, Dureline's a 3rd one. Right. Would you not just ask for 3?
I think for balance to the building, the 4 looks a lot better. That was the discussions with Sign Co. also as a selling point. Eventually, Duraline may take the whole building at the rate they're growing, and when they do, they're going to pull everybody else's sign off, but this gives the building owners the opportunity to attract quality Class A tenants if they can offer the signage. Most major corporations will not go into a building unless they can have signage on the building. AT&T will not go into a building unless they've got their Blue World up there. I guess that's their Blue World. Same with Verizon, other corporate tenants. And this is a huge building. There's a lot more square footage in this building than any other in the office building in the town of Farragut.
So you went into this 6 years ago, knew you didn't have signage at the time, but went in, and now because of the expansion, you're looking for the additional signage. Is that correct?
Fair statement.
Well, I have a question and then a comment. Question is, where do you tell people you are? What city are you in?
Oh, Farragut. Farragut. I've only lived in Farragut.
What's on your stationery?
The legal address that we're given to use is Knoxville, not Concord or Farragut. The address the post office gives us is Knoxville.
Farragut is legal.
Yeah. Well, I apologize. The address we're given by the post office says Knoxville.
Well, the problem we have is and it doesn't affect you since you're not retail.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a lot of people who have retail in the town who say that they're in Knoxville. Now, when that happens, their sales tax goes to Knoxville. And we have to work at the end of the year, pulling back what they owe us. And one year I got a check for $300,000. That's real money.
Yes, for a small town like Farragut.
But I think the town of Farragut probably lends some, what's the word? What'd you say?
Cachet. It's a good word.
It lends some prestige to your location, and you lend some the same to us. And I just hope you'll use the word Farragut.
I think it's a great idea.
Now, my comment is, in the medical community, for example, they have a rule that says, first, do no harm. And I think it applies in this situation when we're looking at ordinances and possible changes in the ordinances. And I think the rule should be, first, do no harm. And I don't see any way that this harms what we're doing elsewhere with this ordinance. Because almost nobody could put 4 signs on their building, unless they're in this kind of district or in one of those buildings or whatever else. It's tied up that strongly, and so I don't think we do any harm by adopting this change in this ordinance.
Well, my comment to add to that too would be to get a 6-2 recommendation from our planning commission on a sign ordinance change is a pretty darn high recommendation to this board. So,
Yes, thank you.
I would like to make a motion for approval.
boy, I would like to second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is that 4-0?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being in Farragut. We appreciate you.
Does the CFO get as passionate as the CEO? Oh, okay. I like it.
He doesn't know where he is yet. Where are we? Move to business items. First is approval of a resolution R-2014-06, resolution by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the town of Farragut authorizing the town to participate in the Pools Safety Partners Loss Control Matching Safety Grant Program.
Good evening, and yes, that is a mouthful. This is our annual request for this resolution. As our insurer, the Tennessee Risk Management Pool, commonly known as the pool now, they're rebranding themselves, offer this annual matching grant up to $1,500 for safety equipment. And we've received this grant in previous years, and so we're applying again this year. And I just kind of want to use this opportunity to report what a good safety record the town has. In the last 10 years, last 5 years, we have only had 10 OSHA recordable accidents. Anyone who works with comp knows that's a stellar record. This year we have had 2 injuries, both very minor. One was abdominal strain, and one was a head laceration. He wasn't paying attention, but it's okay, it wasn't bad. These are medical-only claims. There's no lost time, and this, in the world of comp, is excellent. And a lot of that is because of the attention we give to our safety rules and the importance we place on them, and also all the personal protective equipment that a grant like this allows us to purchase. And our safety equipment is long and deep, what we have, because our parks and well, I'm stumbling here. The Public Works Department, each of those crews do a variety of things, so therefore we have a variety of safety equipment. Everyone has steel-toe boots. They all have the reflective vest, but then we also get into things like welding shields. We have to have chaps for chainsaw when they're cutting the trees and removing trees. And that's just a handful of the equipment that is required for the type of work that these 18 individuals do on a daily basis. So with that, I would ask that there's no funds involved in this, ask that you approve the resolution as attached.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Second business item is approval of special event signage for the new Sentinel Open Golf Tournament.
Yes, sir. The Open has submitted a special events permit application requesting permission to place directional signage in the Farragut right-of-ways during the golf tournament. Over the past few years, the Knoxville Golf Tournament has requested, the Open Golf Tournament, I'm sorry, has requested and been granted permission to place directional signs in the right-of-ways. The requested placement of the directional signs is illustrated in the following attachments. The signs will be erected August 9th and 10th and removed by the close of business Monday, August 18th. As requested, no directional signs will be closer than 200 feet to an intersection. Jamie Stokes is here tonight if you have any questions. And the motion is to approve the proposed placement of directional signage within the town of Farragut's right-of-ways for the new Sentinel Open.
Good evening.
I assume these are all in the same places, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not a whole lot of change.
Yep.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
No.
Good luck this year.
Excellent. Thank you all for your continued support.
Jamie, do you want to maybe give the board a quick update on the golf tournament, just kind of when it is?
Yeah. You know, obviously it's our 25th year this year, so it's a big year for us coming up right now. We're very proud of that. Our actual tournament week for us will begin on August the 10th. That'll be our junior clinic will begin that day, the Food City Kids Clinic, so we'll move August 10th to the 17th. We've got some interesting things we got going on this year. We've actually moved our kids clinic this year from Foxton Country Club over to Fairways and Greens, actually, which we're excited about that. Kind of wanted to give it a little jump start, and this has been the 25th anniversary. Thought it was a good time to do that, and the good folks at Fairways and Greens have jumped on board and have shut down their entire facility for us to give us an opportunity to do that. So we'll jump start the event with that. Move into our Pro-Am on Monday, the 11th. The shootout again on Tuesday, the 12th. Begin the big Pro-Am, double Pro-Am on the 13th. Begin play on the 14th through the 17th there. The chamber event again on the 14th there on Thursday night. We'll have that again. And then the member party, obviously. I think I see some of you guys out at the club pretty often, so I think some of you are the members out there. So we'll have the member party on Friday night there again. And then, of course, we'll finish up throughout the weekend. But tournament's moving along nicely. I'm real happy where we're at right now. Very proud of where we've been able to come. We've fortunately recently was able to sign an extension on our contract with the PGA Tour, Foxton Country Club, with both of our major sponsors, the title sponsor, the New Sentinel, as well as the Pilot Corporation as our presenting sponsor. So we've extended our event for at least 2 more years. So it'll keep us playing golf for a couple more years here in Farragut, and so we'll go right back to work and try to get another extension from here. So, but moving forward nicely. Very proud of where we're at right now with everything.
You know, I want to thank you because I know you were instrumental, your efforts, your personal efforts in keeping this tournament going, because I know it was in great danger. My golf game's awful, but I appreciate this tournament a lot. One of the things that I found interesting, the other board members might find interesting, just is the fact that this is the oldest stop on the tour. There, if I recall correctly, there's only 4 stops left from 25 years ago.
Yes.
This one has the distinction of being the oldest because it was held first that year.
It is by date. It would be considered the oldest because of by date being played first, and it is considered the oldest. Yes. So it's very and actually did a nice. One thing we're doing this year, I'm real proud of. I think it's gonna be really interesting, and I hope you'll come see it as well, and I hope everyone does. Jim Wakefield and Dr. Buck Jones, 2 very instrumental and key figures, have been a part of this event for many, many years, have taken it upon themselves to kind of head up what we're doing. For lack of a better term, it's really kind of a museum. We've set up, we're doing like a museum setup out there where we're kind of set up we're going to have a very large structure built there. Where we're going to do have a timeline in there and some memorabilia, different things like that, where people are going to be able to see the history of the previous 24 years of this event and kind of get a history of how it's evolved and where it's come over the years. And so I think that's going to be really neat. You know, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that myself. I've seen some of the I've kind of let them just go with it and run, because they obviously know a lot more about it than I do. They've been around a whole lot longer than me. But they have done a nice job with it. And over just watching them go with it, I've kind of really enjoyed watching them do it. I'm really excited about seeing the finished product, and so I hope that you guys would get a chance to come out and see it as well. I think it'll be really interesting to see that and kind of enjoy that piece of it as well.
I think it's also interesting to note that nobody's making money on this tournament, that the proceeds are being designated to area charities.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It is a nonprofit event. I mean, you know, I am for profit. I work for a company that's for profit. I work for a tournament management company that's hired to come in and operate the event. But at the end of the day, yes, you're absolutely right. Any proceeds that are made over an additional amount, every bit of that is dispersed to charities. So yes, absolutely.
The other big question is John Daly coming back.
You know, I don't think so. John spoke with him a while back, and he is actually says he has a commitment to play in Germany at that time, in Europe on a European tour. So I don't think he'll be here. But I know Lee Jansen's committed to playing the field again, which is a pretty big draw, and several others. You never know about the field. You never know what your field's going to look like until a few weeks ahead of time. But I don't think John will be here, which is good and bad sometimes, believe me.
Well, thanks again for all you've done. We're really proud to have the event here in town, and it's getting to be a historical thing, isn't it?
It's big, and it's growing bigger and bigger, and it's really interesting. I could tell you stories about it sometime, but it's funny how it's starting to outgrow different areas of what we've been doing for many years. And so
well, we keep adding motels and hotels to try to accommodate everybody.
It's a big part of it. It really is, you know, and it's a great amount of money that's dumped into the community very fast, you know, in just a short time. But we're very proud of what it's doing for the community. So yes,
I think it's part of why our hotel motel business and our tax structure, which is favorable to them, why we've seen so much growth in that area. So
I hope so.
All working together.
I hope so, and I thank you guys for your continued support. You guys are people without the support of people like yourselves. What we do is not feasible. Believe me.
You pretty much have it down to a well-oiled machine now, right?
There are days it looks like I do, but there are times I'm wondering about it. But as long as it looks like it, I do. It's okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll see you.
So we did vote on that, right?
We did.
Yes.
Okay, so the final item is approval of special event application for the Turkey Creek Farragut 13 6.1 half marathon and 5K kids run. This is a new race, I guess, right?
Yes, yes. This is something I think is very exciting for the town. It's actually, obviously, the inaugural Turkey Creek, hopefully Turkey Creek Farragut half marathon 5K. It's proposed for November 1st, and the request here is to approve the special event application associated with this request. I'll just give you just a short background of how we got to this point. Probably a couple of months ago, I guess, Steve Durbin, who's here, contacted me and Daryl Smith about meeting about their interest in Knoxville Track Club having a half marathon. They've had a lot of requests and interest in doing something out here in West Knox County. So we met with Steve and Bobby with KTC and kind of discussed early stages of a route, some issues and things that they needed to be aware of because we want it to obviously be a success. We maybe have been a little overly picky, I guess, in some regards, but basically they have kind of made some adjustments. The cue sheet and the route are in your packets. The route on the screen is just for the 5K. Both the half marathon and the 5K are proposed to start and finish at the high school, Farragut High School. They are anticipating they could have as many as 1,500 participants, possibly quite a few more if the weather's good. Hopefully they will. But the half marathon will start at 9 o'clock and will close at 1. That would be about when I would finish it, I guess, close to that time rather than 10 o'clock. The 5K would start at 9:05, and as you see there on the screen, it largely will be within the Village Green subdivision, other than some sections there on Kingston Pike and Campbell Station Road. But there'll be really pretty much the middle half of that's going to be in Village Green. With the half marathon route, which I want to discuss a little bit more, there will be 3 aid stations for this. They will have portable restroom facilities at these aid stations. The Knoxville Track Club will be responsible for all materials, traffic control, cleanup associated with both of these events. The potential impact to traffic flow and the roads on the half marathon route obviously have been discussed at great length with KTC. We even had Captain Jeff Palmer and Dan Johnson, our fire marshal, rode the route with Steve Durbin just a few weeks ago to look at, traffic control, what could be some of the problem areas, just to kind of get I think Steve's probably driven the route, no telling how many times at this point, but it's the route's there in red on the screen. As it's proposed currently, they would have 3 roads that would be completely closed during the half marathon, and that would be Dixon, Virtue, and Allen Kirby Road. And there'll be other roads that will be partially closed. The Knoxville Track Club, as they have done with the Knoxville Marathon, will be providing the police officers cones, volunteers, signage. They also are doing a really extensive public outreach program so that there shouldn't be any surprises about this event. They're going to reach out to the individuals and the subdivisions that will be affected by this so that they're aware of this ahead of time. They'll be, provided they can, it's approved by the subdivisions, they propose to put some small portable signs out, before the event, just to remind people that live in these subdivisions that it's coming up. distribute flyers. They're also proposing some strategically placed larger signage, perhaps at Kingston Pike and Camel Station and Kingston Pike and Old Stage Road, maybe a week before the half marathon, to just, again, remind people that there could be some delays related to this event, and to expect that if they're in the area, and then to provide a detour route, detour signage. And then the town will also work with KTC to help advertise through our various media sources. So we'll put that on the website, and Sue's department will, and our department and engineering will do all that we can to help them with the public outreach, because I think that's really going to be key. We've never had a run in the town this distance, so you know it's going to have some impact on the roadways, and perhaps the greatest impact, I think, could be at the last crossing of Kingston Pike toward the end of the half marathon, and we'll just need to, you know, have a really good hold on that ahead of time. Hopefully the runners will be spread out enough to where traffic can, you know, be filtered through as you know, in coordinating that with the runners, and then maybe the people like me that are, you know, way back toward the end of the time limit, they probably don't care. They probably would be glad to stop at that point, you know. So I don't think it's going to be as big of a problem for them. But the staff just, you know, we recommend that Knoxville Track Club, as I know they will, to go out and really do reach out to the affected residents. Those on those roads proposed to be closed, I think they need to reach out to everybody on those roads. And then the subdivisions that would be affected, Village Green subdivision, obviously, for the 5K route. And then to, you know, just have a real good game plan for that last crossing of Kingston Pike, because we've all discussed these concerns with KTC. They're aware of that. They have these similar issues with the Knoxville Marathon, actually to a larger scale, obviously. We would like to see, you know, the event promoted as, you know, Farragut Turkey Creek Half Marathon 5K, because you know, personally, I'm thrilled to have something like this in Farragut. Almost all of the half marathon route will be in the town, and of course, all the 5K will be. You know, we think it's exciting. We'd like to see, you know, some wording in there that promotes it also as a Farragut half marathon. This kind of event is consistent with the pedestrian and bicycle plan, which encourages these kind of events to promote appreciation of what the town has done in terms of providing for a more active and healthy community. You know, we have tons of walking trails, which this route will use to some degree, and I think we have a lot of people out here that are members of KTC and that are very excited about having something in our community like this. And we've got some representatives from KTC that are here. If you have any specific questions for them, they're a lot better runners than I am, and they could probably answer a lot of the questions better than I could as well.
I would say, since a great point on that last one, and I noticed that when I looked at the map, since a lot of it seems to go through Farragut, what's the odds of getting this named with the Farragut name instead of Turkey Creek?
Oh.
And please identify yourself and your address, please.
I'm Steve Durbin. I live in Knoxville. I've lived here since last July, and I really enjoy it here. My wife works at UT Medical Center as a nurse anesthetist, and she works for the University of Tennessee teaching the program over there. I'm also a runner, and I've run well over 100 marathons across the country. And I work for the KTC as the race director for Turkey Creek. When we, maybe just my ignorance from not being around the area long enough to put Farragut in the actual title, we looked at certain different logos and what might look good for the race. And, you know, Turkey Creek's such a pretty area, driving the course, then it just seemed natural to put Turkey Creek 13.1, which is the distance of a half marathon. If you ever see those little stickers on the back of cars, 13.1, that's what they're talking about. Kind of just a cutting edge kind of a name to it. I don't see any reason why we can't add Farragut, Tennessee to the logo. We do that in the Running Journal and different areas that we advertise. We always put Farragut, Tennessee in there too. So I appreciate the concern, and as far as changing the name to that, if not this year, then maybe next year. But definitely we're going to have Farragut in there as much as we can.
Well, we appreciate that, and I'm excited about having a half marathon in the town. I think this is just harmonious with our goals and objectives for the type of community we want to be, and certainly welcome you and thank you for planning this event here. Here again, Turkey Creek for the region. How long have you lived in the area?
Since July of last year.
Okay, Turkey Creek, people associate that with the shopping up. It has come to be the shopping up at Parkside Drive, and very few people outside of Farragut even know where Turkey Creek Drive is, and a small portion of this is actually on Turkey Creek. But it's really important to us as a town to promote the name of the town. You know, we have the Knoxville Open. It used to be the Knoxville Open. It was held in Farragut for 20 years. And it was never in Knoxville, and so we're working.
I understand that. I understand that, of course, a lot better now than I did when we first started talking about what a name could be and all. And there, you know, we'll talk about it. And I put Farragut as much as possible on all the, you know, social media and such. We're always talking about Farragut instead of putting Knoxville. We put Farragut.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah,
and
I understand that.
Thanks for bringing the event here, and anything you could do in that line would be
great.
Really appreciate.
I really do. I understand that. I have a race that I directed for years in Western Kentucky, the Land Between the Lakes trail runs. We started there with 90 people, and now we have over 900, which is on a trail. That's a lot. And I always put Grand Rivers, Kentucky on everything there. They have a population of 300, so we triple. For that, for just that event, what we bring in there. So I'm excited too. I think it's going to be great, and you know, it'll continue to grow. Jason Altman's with me he's the race director of the Covenant Health Knoxville Marathon. So he's here too, just in case you had any particular questions about how something might be done there.
I do have one other question. I know we're working on connecting our greenway across in front of Cedar Creek Golf Course. And I don't think we'll have that done in time for this, will we?
No, sir, we won't.
So we don't even have a sidewalk there. So you're gonna be running on Kingston Pike. Is that for a pretty good little section there? Well, we'll commit to you that we'll improve the course.
Awesome.
By the next one.
Well, that's great. We're using McPhee Greenway exclusively on McPhee.
Right.
And we talked about Turkey Creek, but it is kind of awkward because it doesn't really connect. You kind of have to go up and over, then back down, and so we thought smarter just to close that one lane.
Well, ultimately, I'd like to see a marathon course on our greenways.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Foot on street. We're working on it.
I'm on the greenways all the time. Jason is too, pushing his son.
Thank you for bringing this to our town.
Oh, you're welcome.
Question: can I get a .1 sticker instead of 13.1?
I've seen 0.0, and it said did not start underneath.
One I'd be real fired up about.
Or I've seen 27.6. I got lost. Have you seen that one?
Just to verify that KTC is good with the staff recommendations, particularly the notification to residents, and also there was a comment here about a certificate of liability insurance document that KTC is aware of.
Oh, yes, sir, we have that. Bobby said that he'd get it for me since he's out of town this week, but he'll get that to us right away.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Enthusiastically.
Now we come to the town administrator's report,
Mayor, I have nothing to report tonight.
and we don't have an attorney.
No.
We do, but he's not here. So we are adjourned.